Podcast, WATP.
Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Hour with Ryan Hoppe. Does anyone know who Ryan Hoppe is?
No.
Okay. He used to be on Rover's Morning Glory, a show out of Cleveland that was syndicated to my hometown of Rochester. And it took over for Howard Stern when Howard Stern went to satellite. And let me read you the description of this guy's podcast, because it is a doozy. Step into the electrifying world of Hoppe Hour, a captivating and nationally syndicated in-studio circus led by none other than the charismatic Ryan Hoppe. Prepare for an exhilarating roller coaster ride through the very heart of celebrity news, where scathing satire meets the cutting edge of entertainment journalism. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Hoppe Hour delves fearlessly into the deepest trenches of human experience, engaging in unscripted and riveting conversations about topics ranging from the sultry realms of sex and dating to the profound insights into mental health and the evolving landscape of marijuana culture. But there's more. Ryan Hoppe is your trusted guide into the fascinating world of planet Earth's finest talents, spanning the realms of hip-hop, comedy, radio, and even the unexpected corridors of the adult entertainment industry. With each episode, the excitement of anticipation swirls, for you truly never know which luminary he might have in the hot seat. Picture this. It's a sunrise rendezvous with the stars. Distilled into the captivating format of a morning radio show, reborn as a podcast that has set the industry ablaze. Recognized and celebrated, Hoppe Hour has secured its place in the annals of podcast history, consistently nominated as the best local podcast since 2015, and proudly wearing the crowns of victory in 2015 and 2017, prepare to be awed, amused, and thoroughly entertained.
Now that's AI.
That's crazy.
Yeah, oh my God, that's AI.
That's setting the expectations a little high, don't you think?
Yes.
No, what happened in 2016? What?
Yeah, what happened?
Some year.
What happened, Ryan? What happened? So the reason why we're talking about this podcast is because he recently had a guest on by the name of Chad Zumock. Richard Ojeda. No, this one is Chad Zumock.
It's time to mock Zumock.
So Chad comes on the show and they start doing this interview. Now remember, in that description, we talked about, you never know which luminary is going to be sitting in the hot seat next. It's crazy. The guests that he gets on the show, and not to let us down, here we have Chad Zumock. And it turns out, Chad used to work for the Alan Cox Show, and this guy used to work for Rover, and there's some type of rivalry because they're both Cleveland shows. And it seems like Ryan and Chad have a lot in common.
When you have a dirty personal life and you're talking about others, like when I got fired from Rover's show, Alan was the first one to announce it. He views my LinkedIn all the time, but he's a bitch because he doesn't reply because he knows that he's a coward.
These are the same guy.
Yeah.
That sounds like something Chad would say in a different voice. He's a bitter ex-radio guy, bitterness. Like, you get that just from that one sentence. You're like, oh, this guy's bitter about.
Oh, he sounds like Imholt, too.
Yes, another fired radio guy.
All sidekicks want to get together to be like, it's like a lot of Vietnam vets who are like, the war was weird. We didn't know, we weren't winning, we weren't losing. No one remembers us, but we're here together, right? You also went through this, right? Like, you were a bitch. That's what you were.
Yes.
I've been a third mic on many radio shows. Even if I'm not on them anymore, I thank them for the time. But who gives a fuck, and you move on? To hold on to it because these dummies thought that one day they were going to have the morning show is crazy.
Yep. These guys have not moved on. And that's actually another parallel to Stuttering John, who, when Howard was going to retire from Sirius, he's like, I should take over the show and be the host of the Howard Stern Show on Sirius. I'll keep Robin and Gary and Fred. It's like, you really think that? That's what you think? You think you're the Howard Stern? But you're right, though, Pat. All of these guys, I know I'm agreeing with you too much. All of these guys come on here and they go, I start off as the intern. I get the coffee real hot for people. Then I get on the third mic and eventually it's my show. And it never works out that way. In order to make it in radio, you have to travel from market to market to market and continue to have bigger and bigger roles, starting in smaller markets and then larger markets. And that's how you build a career. These guys get on one show and they think, oh, I'm good for the rest of my career in radio. And
it's because they believe the personality, but like, did you ever get talked to by somebody in management, in the offices, people that actually make the decisions? Because the guy on the mic just wants you to be a stupid piece of shit that he can shit on, and no one even knows you're on the show. Like, they don't really, like, they're not listening every day like you think they are.
Right.
The way you're moving up is when someone from management goes, hey, can we sit down and talk about a future here? If you've never had that conversation, which neither of those guys have ever had,
right,
you're not even really hired. You're just the guy who's hosting. Alan or whoever was just like, I need $50 to give this Chad guy. And they're like, who? Like, I don't know. Does he get coffee? Maybe. Here's $50.
Honestly, third mic on the afternoon drive show, I guess the next step would be doing overnights. Like, but you're the host. You know, that's what happened to Sam Roberts. Is he was an intern and then he was a producer on the Opie and Anthony, and then eventually he got to do a late night show on the channel. And now he's the morning DJ. But you don't go
if they feel like investing in it. But nowadays, radio's not hiring radio people. They're hiring personalities and teaching them how to guard an iPod. That's why people are mad at me when I got jobs at radio, because I came in as a guest they liked, and they're like, oh, we want to teach you how to do radio, so down the road maybe you're a morning show person. But all these guys like, we learned radio. It's like, yeah, but that's not the world anymore. You have to be able to talk. You have to be able to be entertaining. We can teach you how to push a fucking button.
And we see how bitter Howard is about this. We documented that last week, where Howard's all mad that Smartless and these people are making these big contracts when they didn't pay their dues in radio like you're talking about. And these people don't realize that world is over. What's nuts about this is these are two bitter assholes who feel like they were slighted by their shows. And Chad has this flex.
And by the way, his show every day is live on YouTube.
Talking about Alan Cox, the show he used to be on that's still on the radio in Cleveland.
And by the way, his show every day is live on YouTube, and it's been live on YouTube for years.
Yeah.
He gets like 74 live views, and I get like 400.
Mm-hmm.
So more people are watching me than an actual terrestrial radio show. So I called him out because I'm like, but nobody gave a fuck. Nobody cares. He ended up blocking me on everything, which is so funny.
Couple things here. First off, Alan Cox is not a YouTube show. Your show is. Do you think you have more live listeners than Alan Cox does? You don't. They put it on YouTube, they simulcast it, but he's on the radio, he's on a frequency, FM frequency. That's what the show is.
He's probably also on Twitch, and he's probably on 12 other places because they put it there. Why? To cut video clips to put on TikTok and Instagram to try to get young people to hear radio. They're only doing it for the clips because in radio, they have to get the young people to go, why would I listen to this? We have to get a hot little thing to grab them and go, this is the conversation, the fun thing. They don't care about it. That's just their secondary. They don't even know if there's views. They don't promote it. They don't go watch us on YouTube.
Right.
They don't say any of those things.
They don't want you to watch on YouTube. They want you to listen on FM where you hear the commercials.
Because the cameras aren't even set up well. They're not moving. They're literally just tiny little cameras in front of each person there, camera one, camera two, whatever, and they hope to get a little clip video so they can pop up things in between. Right. It's a young person who's working the boards trying to get people to go to the next mile to keep these 60-year-olds working till they're 70.
So the fact that Chad compares that, and again, we're not even talking about real numbers. They have 70 people watching. I have 400. That's the same. Chad, that's the same. You're not in show business. That 400 people watching live, and I don't understand why people are obsessed with live viewers anyway. We do live shows and we leave the video up, and then thousands and thousands of more people see it. Chad takes all his videos down for some dumb reason. He's an idiot.
And I'm not even shitting on it, but even Chad, when he goes on Brennan, the amount of, 1,000, whatever there was, 800, whatever the number is, that's the amount of people that just turn off their radio to get their kids out of the car every 2 minutes to Alan Cox. And I'm not shitting on him.
No.
He just doesn't understand how many fucking people in a small area. The only reason why radio still works is because you can't do local shit on podcasts. Like Tom Meyer's trying to do local shit on his fucking podcast. You can't do it because it doesn't work.
Scorch
you listen for your traffic and you listen for your high school scores.
Right. Scorch is still trying to do a local show on YouTube. He's got all these local sponsors. And you see the same thing with Aaron Imholt and Steel Toe, local sponsors trying to do a local thing. It's like, yeah, stop doing that. My buddy Eric Zane does that. But stop doing that. You got to do a show for everybody because you're going everywhere now. And so you want to build as big an audience as possible.
I'm watching 300 miles away and I'm being told I can get a coupon to get wings somewhere in Minneapolis. Like, what the fuck's that? Like, what am I going to do with that?
If you ever need a tow in St. Cloud, Minnesota, like, I don't. I never will. No. But thank you. I'm glad to know about that.
If I need a tow in St. Cloud, Minnesota.
And the other thing that Chad said there at the end of that clip is he goes, yeah, and I was reaching out to Alan Cox and telling him I have more views, and he blocked me. This is the mentality of, and no offense to Ian Hawke, he's at the Ian Hawke level of trolling. It's like, Chad, you should be above this. You have a show. You claim to be this guy who's hung out with all these famous people and had a career, still have a career in comedy, and you're proud of being blocked by someone. That's what trolls do. They see it as a victory. Like, yeah, I fucked with him so much, he blocked me. Cool. Neat, bro. It's another
a human being need to remove you from his life because you're annoying.
Another
That's not
win.
a brag.
Another win, buddy. Good job. Congrats on that. So the reason why Chad's on this guy's show is because this guy is getting into the dabbleverse.
But the new thing, and I've been talking about it, you can say, no pun intended, I've been dabbling in it, is commenting on this weird dabbleverse. And it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, because I'm not just saying this to kiss your ass because you're my friend, but you're definitely the most talented comedian. You and Kevin Brennan are pretty good, a part of this whole thing. But you got all these wannabe midlife crisis 55-year-olds that think they're funny, and it's pathetic.
Dude, I don't even know how this all happened for me. I literally fell into it.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact, on record, clip it, put it out there, like Big J. Okerson, the Legion of Skanks, all these comics are watching, Annie Lieberman, they're all watching what we're doing, and I don't even know how it happened.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I do know how it happened.
How did it happen?
It was a pile-on with Carl from Who Are These Podcasts, and
Whoa. Did you hear that little reaction?
Yeah, Hoppy
This guy's-
doesn't like you.
This guy's like, oh, I'm all into the dabbleverse. I can't stop talking about it, checking it out. And then he brings up my name and he goes, ugh. Okay. So Ryan Hoppy has a problem with me.
But not even that. Okay, even if it's say like he's a Chad fan, he's trying to be supportive and all that.
Yeah.
If I'm going to get into the dabbleverse, when people say to me, "Hey, I mentioned it something. What is this?" I'm like, "Listen, it's too long to explain. It's stupid. You got to go check out this clip and this clip from Carl, and check this clip and this clip from Shuley,
Yep.
and then you'll kind of get an idea if you're going to want to get involved in this or not." So even the shit on you is the only way to get into it. Is to you got to watch the New Hope if you're going to watch all the Star Wars. You
Right.
can't just start with the black kid one. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you got to get in there to understand if you're going to feel it out or not. So even like shit on that, he should know who you are if he's getting it. If not, he's only getting it from what Joey C and the Joey C dancers
Right,
or
good
whatever the fuck they
point.
do. It's like,
And he even says on there, he goes, the only people who are funny in this dabbleverse, it's all 55-year-old guys who suck and they're not funny, but the only funny people are you and Brennan. And to that, I always ask when people say that Chad's funny, is he even trying to be funny on his show? I don't watch it all that often, but every time I watch Chad on his show, he's not even trying to be funny. There's no attempts at jokes.
Oh, he always sounds angry.
He's just angry. He's just angry and he's being a little bitch. And then he's like, oh, I'm funny and Carl's not funny. And the lies that come out of Chad's mouth, listen to this.
finally it was so to the point where I was like, I got to say something. And I just started beefing with him. And honestly, it put me in another stratosphere, another income bracket where, like, I'm not joking. Like, the revenue I generate from these losers is fan-fucking-tastic.
So he's explaining that when he got into the dabbleverse, it changed his world, another income bracket, into another stratosphere of income. Now, I just got an email from Chad bragging about the fact that he got $345 in Venmo payments, as if I was going to be upset that that much money was being exchanged between him and his listeners. That's not a lot of money. The
from
fact
one
he's-
person or overall?
He got, no, from overall, from all the different people donating to him.
Oh my
So
God, that's not good at all.
He met the goal.
he got $345. Imagine being 50 years old and thinking $345 is a lot of money. This is the guy who's just bragging about being in another income bracket, going through the stratosphere with the dabbleverse. I can't imagine what he thinks good money is, because we heard him brag about getting money back from his taxes. He literally said on MLC, he's like, oh yeah, I do so good with my taxes, I'm actually getting a bunch of money back. You pay quarterly, Chad. You don't work for anyone. You shouldn't get money back.
No.
That's retarded. You don't even understand how the tax system works saying that. He also bragged about getting approved for a credit card with a $15,000 limit.
Right.
This is what a 23-year-old guy would say. I got a credit card. I'm getting money back on my taxes. I'm doing really well. $345 came in.
Yeah, I got 15 CDs for a penny.
Right. This is
I
the
got
level
this
that we're at.
timeshare. You're not gonna believe.
I can go on vacation once a year. I can stay there for 5 or 6 days. It's nuts. You can't believe it. This is what Chad is proud of himself with. And the fact that he would boast about it in that way tells me he has no money. Anyone who actually makes a lot of money does not talk like this.
Correct.
It's never happened once. You're just like, oh, yeah. I'm in another stratosphere with my income. So now we
I
find
know I'm
out.
dating myself on this reference real quick, but okay, so in Caddyshack, Ted Knight, everyone loves that character. Judge Smales, he's hilarious, but his character is funny because he's not trying to be funny.
Right.
He's walking around life being this annoying, weird thing. That's what Chad is in the Dabbleverse. Chad's not trying to be funny. He's just being Chad, and you watch his frustrations and go, that's funny, but it's not on purpose. It's just the character you need to move the story forward. Chad is very important to move. Chad, we need you to break your arm again because Stuttering John hasn't farted in a while. Okay, it's like we need you to get attacked outside because Ray DeVito hasn't stolen a blanket from somewhere. He's always just the thing that moves you forward. He's not funny or fun.
Right. We need people like him to fill a specific role, and just like the world needs ditch diggers too, Danny. You understand how this works.
Yes.
So let's find out why Ryan hates me. Because I want to know when he scoffed at my name. What's the deal with that?
I'm very indifferent on Aaron. I don't love him. I don't hate him. But you know who? There's 2 people in this dumb universe that I can't stand, and we agree on this. I
can't stand. Sounded like Stan's sister on that. This is a radio guy. I can't stand him.
There's 2 people in this dumb universe that I can't stand, and we agree on this. I can't stand that creep Patrick Meldon, and I have always hated Carl from Who Are These Podcasts because he's just some Opie and Anthony nerd that knows all the keywords about Prep Burger and all these words that they said, but he's never worked in radio. He's a loser.
Oh, the truth comes out. I haven't paid my dues. Jealousy. It's envy. Is what it is, what it comes down to.
Why don't you pay your dues and not do well instead of adapting to the times and doing radio, but the way you're supposed to do it now, which is in this format?
And Chad used to go after me for the same thing. He's like, dude, you live in Rochester? Like, what are you going to do living in Rochester? Like, I don't know, start a successful podcast. It's way better than yours and where people watch and listen to.
Yeah, you don't have to move to new markets.
Right. These people don't even understand. Like, Chad tried to get out of Cleveland and go to LA and then go to New York. And he's trying to make a name for himself. It's like, you don't have to do that anymore. You can just do a show on YouTube and
you don't have to go
popular.
be an intern for 5 years and not make any money and battle through radio shit and politics when you have the skills and the voice to do something and you can do it on your own without having to go through people's jealousies. That's what a lot of guys, there's so many good podcasters out there who 30 years ago would be great radio personalities. It's just not the time. The fact you want to be a radio guy there. Why do I do it? Because in local markets, it helps me sell 20 more tickets when I'm at the Stress Factory in Bridgeport this Friday. Shit like that. It's like, it helps me sell tickets. I don't use it for anything else. I go, oh, that guy on the radio sometimes. So old people go to my shows sometimes.
But he really just showed what the actual issue is with me is pure jealousy because it's this paying your dues thing that everyone likes to make fun of Shuley for. You didn't pay his dues. And let's find out what the assessment is of me coming from Chad, who's obviously going to agree with him.
No, he's a total ball washer. He got popular during COVID because Anthony Cumia would promote the shit out of his stuff.
Yeah.
And his Patreon's actually very healthy, but he ripped off Jocktober.
Yes.
And he's not a funny guy. If you really watch him, he's not funny. He prepares well. He prepares very well, but he copies off everybody. He's not a funny guy. He's not funny off the cuff. He's not a good impression. There's nothing funny about him, but he's managed to make some money doing it. But I have no respect for him because there's really no creativity coming from him.
Now, that would hurt. It's a fair assessment. That would hurt if it came from someone who had any amount of creativity. What has Chad ever done that you would consider creative?
The Cumia Country Lie. The whole
even that was done by the asshole from Empire.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Before Chad ever did it.
He ripped off the bleach incident.
Yeah, pretending he was jumped and all that shit. Chad's never done anything original at all. Now he does Cumia's Cucks, which is just watching clips and responding to it like everyone else is doing. And that's his concern. I'm not creative
Which he got
enough.
from watching you.
No shit.
He does it worse, but they all got it.
I'm not the first one to do it, but
No, but Carl, in their world, you are.
Yeah,
in their dumb world where they weren't on a thing. Even Brendan was late to it, but they never watched videos or went to other shows and tied into universes together. Like, as much as these morons might hate you because you expose them for the dorks they are, like, they should be thankful that I and other people know about them more and we'll go watch it because you're like, look how bad this is. And I'll go, you know what? It can't be that bad. And then I go watch it and I go, oh my God, Carl is right. This is that bad. But
he must be lying about it. He's exaggerating. Stuttering John's probably pretty good.
But you constantly are promoting people that hate you. Like, there isn't a more noble fucking thing than like, hey, this guy's calling me gay every week. Here's a bit on him.
I can't tell you how many times I get notes from people. And this is crazy to me. I still can't believe this is true. I just got an email from a guy in Germany because I put out there, I'm like, if you're overseas and you are in the dabbleverse, how did you get here? How do you know about Opie and Anthony and Howard Stern and Stuttering John? It doesn't make any sense to me. This is very much a northeast of the United States kind of world that we live in. It's expanded out to all of these different places. And so, yes, I've actually gotten notes from people who say, I didn't know anything about Stuttering John. I never heard of him. I learned about him through your show. I get that all the time. And Stuttering John should be thankful that he gets insulted for money on his show every day, because that would not exist for him if we did not review him on Who Are These Podcasts.
Yeah. Oh, like, yeah, you like for every couple of months there'll be a guy from Germany that's on everyone's show, and you're like, how the fuck did this guy get in here?
Right.
Or like, here's Husey. It's like, you're from a different land.
I'm doing Husey's show. Doing Husey's show tomorrow, right?
He's great. I think I love Husey, but he's very funny when he comments, and not when he's not shitting on me, but he's great. But like, they shouldn't even know about this world, but you are that hub that does that. And someone in the comments said, but I'll trump it. You do a great job presenting, but Chris is fucking funny, so you're smart enough to have a funny guy on your show too. You're not just going to be by yourself this close to the camera yelling out loud about Scola. Like, you have someone else funny on the show.
All right, so let's find out. Apparently, this guy Ryan isn't a big Opie fan. Let's find out why that is.
The thing with Carl that irritates me is like the jumping on Opie. Like, listen, I'm indifferent on Opie because he lied to me and said he would do my podcast, but then ignored my DM.
These guys can't stop talking about how they're losers.
Yeah.
They can't stop themselves. Look, I don't like Opie because he said he would do my show and he didn't. Why would Opie do Hoppe Hour? Why would he possibly go on your show, Ryan?
That's the quiet part loud.
Yep. Fucking idiot.
Who are these podcasts?